To jump against Maudal Salah, and the Tigers will have it first. You see Amir Sims run the ball down. We just heard his sister do a wonderful rendition of the national anthem. What a great job she did. Skara. Sims thought about it. Clyde Trapp getting the start today, and so with the hot hand last week against Mississippi State when he had that career high 23. I have a feeling the coaches are going to tell him in the future maybe be a little more selfish and go ahead and take the shot.
He did hit 4 threes against Mississippi State, so we'll see if he goes back to the 3 today.
Long-range shooter, and the Tigers giving attention to Caleb Tanner with the ball. Shot clock at 10. There's Jones. Solid all-around player for them, although not a good three-point shooter. Polite driving the lane. The battle inside.
Polite is their 4-man, and he's about 6'5". He can really rebound the basketball, but Radford's going to have to find a way to score points in the paint today with a significant size disadvantage.
As far as rebounding goes, Radford this year, when they've out-rebounded teams or been right there with them, it's been a win for them as that one falls off. And look at Jones fly in. When they've been out-rebounded, they're 0-3. So their record overall 6-3, and that tells a big story about them.
And a lot of that's preventing the opponent from grabbing offensive rebounds. There's a huge block from Eli Thomas on the defensive end.
Eli Thomas a year ago, of course, he had nearly 80 blocks. That's his 12th of the season. Tigers trying to generate some offense. They've been struggling on the offensive end, and Thomas in the scramble. Skara then Jones. There's Trapp. Skara the battle inside. Those two, and the Tigers with the early lead.
And without Marquise Reed, Clemson needs Skara to look for his shot more offensively. I think he did that against Mississippi State. He had 12 points last time out for Clemson.
Salah on the baseline. There's Clyde Trapp going up, pulling down the rebound. Skara for Thomas. And a second to 4-0 advantage.
That's an area that Eli Thomas has really improved. And he took his time there at the line, taking a couple deep breaths, and it paid off.
Polite getting off balance, and once again impacting that shot was Eli Thomas. Tigers looking to push the pace. Talk about Skara's prowess beyond the arc, and that time Polite.
I can't really tell because he didn't have eyes in the back of his head, but Skara was wide open in transition. Just missed him by a second for an open 3.
Only player I remember who had eyes in the back of his head, at least, was described this way, was Larry Bird. That's the only one I think we could ever perhaps suggest that.
I think that's a safe, that's a safe analysis there.
His ability to pass. Now another opportunity for Trapp. No, Thomas inside to beat the shot clock. Good recovery that time. Clyde Trapp missed everything, but there was Eli Thomas. Tigers lead 6-0. And Fields that time going to be called.
Thomas's hands for an easy 2. Radford is really struggling to find good looks right now. They look small out there. Clemson is playing a bigger lineup. Radford can't get many open looks.
Trapp looking for Thomas, but good job to step in front of it by the steals leader, Polite, for this Radford team. He now has 18 on the season. Holland giving off to the point guard, Travis Field. Deficit against Mississippi State. Maybe that's why the Bulldogs made all those threes.
And Clyde Trapp is one of the more athletic guards on the roster, and I think Coach Brownell went with a defensive lineup to start with Trapp.
That guy will shoot it from anywhere on the court. Caleb Tanner, he makes a lot of them, 49% beyond the arc. He was the big story in their win up in South Bend against Notre Dame, and he strikes for their first points.
Clemson fans remember Gabe DeVoe from a year ago. Think Gabe DeVoe when Caleb Turner has the ball. He can shoot it from anywhere on the floor. He has the ultimate green light.
Skara, the Tigers' best from beyond the arc. Can't get the bounce, battle for the rebound, and
he has to make sure they have a hand in his face at all times. Even just a little glimmer of daylight on that play right there, he's going to let it fly.
You see the battle of the backcourts, and again, Tanner, a guy who really hits the threes. We noted, give credit to Jones, he does his scoring without hitting the threes. He's only made 3 of them this year. There is Holland down low, battling the freshman. Jemison sneaks back door, can't get the roll. Polite, and he'll bring it back out. But had a change of heart.
Coach Brownell very pleased that Skara chose to come back, and we know what he brings defensively, but he has become more of a scorer this year, averaging nearly 8 points per game on the offensive side of the ball.
And really is charged with helping Eli Thomas inside crash those boards, although that's what he showed last year. And came in and played some good defense and got boards. Rejection that time. Trapp was
Tigers.
And John Newman. Trapp setting up the backcourt now and defending against a good three-point shooting team. And that'll be a key thing to watch here in various stretches in the ball game today. Polite, count it, and he's fouled. And boy, that one a three-point play. And now a 6-0 run by Radford after the Tigers began the game with a 6-0 lead.
And Radford knows that Clemson is without Marquis Street, without one of their primary ball handlers. So they're applying a little token pressure, three-quarter court, just to see if they can force Clemson into some mistakes and make them uncomfortable offensively.
The attention you'd mentioned that Thomas is going to draw, you figure it'll help out someone like Skara, and so does the backboard.
You'll take a three any way you can get it. And Skara, he's shooting 44% from three. He doesn't need the backboard most of the time, but that time using the glass to convert a three.
Jones running the show. They use both him and Fields as a point guard, but he can also stop and pop just like that. Carly Jones, he's a second-team preseason All-Big South player. He was a freshman of the year in that conference last year. Out of Cincinnati, came out of nowhere. No one knew who he was or what he could possess, but he had a fine freshman season, and here he is as their leading scorer. Skara and the Tigers look to answer. You have the size mismatch as he worked in on Tanner. And there's Sims looking to continue his good work from last week. And the rebound by Devontae Holland. Here comes Radford looking to take their first lead in the early going.
Radford has struggled to get anything going in transition. Clemson's getting back on defense and preventing Radford from really capitalizing in the fast break game, which is good. Radford is forced to sit here and let it set.
Polite driving on Sims. Holland baseline jumper. And there's Skara.
Ooh, Trapp just missed Eli. Eli had his hand up. He was calling for it.
Holland recovering just in time for the Highlanders. Trapp. And now Newman from the free throw line. Gets that one to wiggle on in there. John Newman averaging under 2 points a game for this Clemson team, but in the absence of Marquis Reed, it's guys like that they're going to have to step up.
That's a really good sign for Clemson. Newman has struggled to score as of late. He played well in those first two games for Clemson, but he is a freshman. He's still adjusting. It's always a good sign for a young player when you see that first shot going in.
That's Carly Jones. Runs into the big players, and he'll travel. Radford showing some full court pressure. Leroy Butts on the floor for the first time. You see him crossing midcourt. And a near steal that time, and indeed taken away by Fields. Giving to Hicks, feeding Holland. And from behind
and knocking that ball out of bounds.
Just the third block of the year for Tyson, but it's 6'8", and with the hops that he has, he'll pick up his fair share.
We've got three first-year players out there for Clemson right now, first year to the program, in White, Newman, and Tyson, a sophomore in Trapp, and David Skara. So a very young lineup out there for Clemson right now.
Newman with the ball running the point. Shelton Mitchell with an extended breather on the bench, and that could be to maybe preserve him. You just get the feeling this one's going to be a game that's not decided until deep into the second half. So the Tigers playing without their two very experienced guards at this stage. That one taken out of the air by Donald Hicks, and he is a big return to the lineup for them. After missing the past 3 games, he's one of their key veterans who had a leg injury that kept him out. Feed inside South Championship. First in a good while. More of that full court pressure, and let's see how much that impacts the Tigers. You notice that Mitchell was back in that time because Brad Brownell, the last thing he wants is to give Radford some quick opportunities in the backcourt to steal and score. And now Tigers' 5th-year senior out of Dallas, Texas, and you would suppose today is a good opportunity for that rebound-wise because you should be able to have an advantage inside against a smaller team. Fields sees the double team come. Got 6 out on the wing. Their top 3-point threat at 54%, but he misses his first attempt at the ball game. And Shelton Mitchell with the rebound. Mitchell was going coast to coast. Fields nearly took that one away from Newman. Tyson from way downtown. And White, a great job to knock that one away from Sala, who's checked back in with those 2 fouls. And the Tigers recycle the shot clock.
That's what Javin White brings to this lineup. He's a tenacious rebounder. That was a great play to keep the ball alive.
Mitchell with a size advantage on the 5'10 fields. There's Tyson baseline. The freshman has it knocked away as Josiah Jeffers, a guard. That's Radford to get the ball back. Quick pass underneath. Butts defended by Tyson. Ooh, a little fadeaway. That might remind his coach, Mike Jones, of what his dad Jimmy used to do in the ABA when he pulls up the old film of that. A nice shot by the sophomore Butts out of DC. Back to a 1-point game. Is that one going to create on? But yes, that free throw jumper from mid-range. And the Tigers with the 3-point play build the lead to 4. They've been up by as many as 6 here early on. 4th ever meeting against the Highlanders of Radford. Radford, Virginia, not far at all from where Virginia Tech's located in the southwestern part of the Commonwealth. Butts, another fadeaway, and that one over Thomas. Wow. Who is this guy? His numbers don't jump off the page here, but so far he looks like he's ready to go pro.
Hey, when your number's called, you got to be ready. He's only playing about 5 minutes per game, but in a game against William & Mary this year, he did go off for 9 points, so he can score it. He's got a pretty left-handed jumper.
Nice idea, but Thomas unable to find the handle. Radford trying to tie the ball game up or get their first lead of the game, and the way they shoot the three-pointer, that is always an option. Fields through the defense, tried to scoop it, nothing doing. There's Newman.
And done.
I was not going to say something about him maybe taking a drama class this semester. I was not going to say that. Trap again from long range, having a tough day so far as the Tigers sophomore. And Jones will bring it across midcourt. Jones halfway down the lane, probably couldn't believe what an opportunity he had to scoop that one up and in, and we're tied at 14. Other end, Mitchell nearly losing it as Hicks was scrapping. Mitchell from way outside, and Shelton Mitchell draining the tray, just 30% so far in the year, but he is a much better shooter than that.
The Tigers needed that one, and yeah, he shot about 38% last year, so you know he's a better shooter than its numbers indicate. Clemson just 2 for 9 from 3. It seemed like there was a lid on the basket until that one.
I don't know if Polite was expecting that pass. Butts 2 out of 2 so far, and missing that one badly, and perhaps Trapp got a finger on that one.
Clemson trying to run, trying to push. That time Radford got back in transition, but I know Coach Brownell has told Shelton Mitchell, get out, let's go, let's run.
Amir Sims can't get that one to go. He shoots 40% beyond the arc, but a slow start after that big ball game last week against Mississippi State.
And we've talked about how Radford shoots 41% from 3, but they don't take that many shots from 3. They're efficient, but they don't take that many. Clemson is the one right now that's taking a lot of shots from beyond the arc. Radford not as much.
From the corner, it's Hicks, and that's what he does. We told you, 54% from beyond the arc, and he ties us up at 17 apiece.
Right on cue, as Radford's only attempted 3 threes until that one from Hicks. And as you said earlier, Pete, they're glad to have him back in the lineup after a calf injury. Yeah,
he'd missed their past 3 ball games, and they come in having lost back-to-back games for the first time since last season. And Thomas that side battling the just 10 on the shot clock, and you see some instruction going on over on the bench. Mitchell, and he'll be
play from Shelton Mitchell. It's mental right now. Those are unforced errors. That's nothing that's Radford's doing that's forcing Clemson to make those mistakes. It's purely mental.
Teams are combined for 13 turnovers. That was the 7th in the Tigers. Radford has 6 points off the turnovers to none for Clemson. Feed to Holland. Underneath. No, but the follow by Polite. That's why he is a first-team All-Big South player. Really athletic, mid-major guy.
He is, and he's always in the right place at the right time, crashing the boards. He's had 5 games this year with 11 or more rebounds, and he's just 6'5". That's tremendous.
First lead change we've had. Mitchell, and he drains it from right of the lane. Shelton Mitchell coming through with some big points here in the opening half, and we're tied back up this time at 19.
And Mitchell knows he has to bring his offense today. Without Marquise Reed, Amir Sims is not on the floor. Shelton Mitchell's got to fill it up, and he's being more aggressive on offense.
Trapp defending. Jones has a size advantage. Jones off the glass, and really nice job of Jones not letting Eli Thomas come over and have any impact on that play.
He's very crafty, and he hung in the air just long enough to get that shot off. When you're 6'1" and you average 16 points per game, you have to be creative inside against big men.
Told you Radford in off back-to-back losses for the first time since last February as they fell at James Madison and at Ohio, but Here they are hanging with an ACC team once again, having already gotten a victory at Notre Dame earlier this year. Good job by Trey.
With the follow, getting up and getting that rebound and putting it back.
Mike Jones before the game said the key for them rebounding is they just have to compete on the boards. I think it's safe to say Polite competed that time. Stop and pop for Fields. Only gets the glass. Here comes Trapp.
He did, and when you're undersized like Radford, it's timing your jump and finding the right time to go grab those rebounds. And again, with Ed Polite, with how he rebounds at 6'5", he's so good at timing his jump.
Thomas. And he overshoots on the mid-range jumper. Jones and crew try to build their biggest lead of the afternoon. Underneath Thomas, and
Sims at the 4. You don't have to play two bigs, two guys over 6'8", but it's still obviously a negative to not have Eli Thomas on the floor.
There's the top big man for Radford. Now there's Sala going out early with a couple of personal fouls. That one an unforced.
Up in New Jersey just last week, 23 points. He hit 4 threes. He was really aggressive. He's only taken 3 shots today. We haven't seen that aggressiveness from him.
Polite, not a bad three-point shooter at all, though that's not his forte, but at 6'5", if he were in a major conference, he's got the ability, he probably could have been in a Power 7 conference. He'd probably be more of a three-point shooter. Sims almost made the steal and then is able to scrap and take it away. Devin Hutchinson looked like he was going to have it. Good job by Amir Sims coming into the ball game. Just 4 steals on the year, but a big one there. Tigers look to get within 1 or tie it up. Trapp again, and that one goes down. Clyde Trapp had not looked good from beyond the arc. 32% of the season. He hits his first of the day.
And Trapp caught that one in rhythm, didn't think about it, went right up and took that 3, and that's a great sign for Clemson. 2 ugly misses early on for Clyde Trapp, but that one was pure from the right wing.
So we're again tied. Polite on Sims. Tanner driving up and under, and a real nice move by Caleb Tanner, the senior out of Floyd, Virginia. And a guy who was a really good high school scorer, but in college he's been known more as a set-up three-pointer. With
Turner, you have to guard him so far away from the 3 that sometimes when you close out, he can get that first step on you to take the ball to the hoop.
Good scrappy play by Clyde Trapp. Didn't get dejected after missing that one.
With how Clemson shot the ball so far, just 33% from the floor, you've got to get some offensive rebounding. So that's huge from Trapp to give Clemson another possession.
And up on 3.5 to go in our opening half. Mitchell, step back. And Shelton Mitchell, that'll go for 2, but another big bucket by the Tigers senior. And Mitchell now in double figures, first player on either side with 11 points in the game.
Always a good thing when you score, but you know how I feel about the long 2, Pete. You know how I feel. Take one more step back, you get 1 more point for it.
Tigers extend a couple of taller players out high. Hutchinson gives to Polite, coming up on 5 on the shot clock. Let's see what Jones does with it. Fade away with Sims in his face. Holland battling for the rebound, and Hutchinson able to save it for the high play bid in 1998. Dick Bender at the foundation of that, of course, a longtime lieutenant of Brad Brownell. And Ron Bradley elevated the head coaching job at Radford, succeeding a fellow you may have heard of named Oliver Purnell, who had his first head coaching job in D1 there. And that time it's taken away by White as Polite lost the dribble. Skara, finger roll. Scoring going today on foul shots. Can't get the ball to go down that time. So a second lead change here in the opening half of play. But Oliver Purnell in the late 80s was at Radford. This is in the early days of the Big South. There's before that conference even had a automatic NCAA bid for their champion, but he had a 20-win season. He turned that into a job, just like Ron Bradley used to be. Dick Bender is as much of a basketball and just an all-around sports guy. He's a great guy and a great guy to talk to about sports. You can just tell he's an athlete through and through. The classic gym rat who used to, in his hometown of the Frostburg, Maryland area, used to ask the high school coach to give him those guys that everyone in coaching knows and they value. And as play goes on here, a quick story. Folks may not realize it, but even though Dick Bender arrived when Brad Brownell got here after the 2010 season, and Trevor Booker had already finished up his eligibility, Dick Bender did a lot of gym sessions with Trevor Booker.
And he asked the ref, where's the foul? Where's the foul? A little hand check, but not sure if that was a foul, especially that far away from the basket. Tigers are led by as many as 6.
Highlanders' largest lead was 3, and now they move back in front as Travis Fields knocks down the tray. He's a 50% shooter from long range. We told you at the top of the telecast, 41% beyond the arc. This Radford team, top 15 in NCAA in that category. It's a big part of their game. Sims only gotten too far under. I think he was trying to feed Skara, but now Mitchell. Left elbow this time. Shelton Mitchell picked a good day to be feeling it. 12 points for the Tigers senior. Came in averaging just under 14 a game.
He's done a lot of his damage from the mid-range. I think he feels that he can get his shot almost every time down the floor from that area.
Polite knocks that one down for a tray. And that is our 5th lead change and our 3rd here in the last minute or so on the clock as we're coming up on 40 left.
Radford doesn't shoot that many threes, but they're very efficient. Next time a Radford player shoots, watch his footwork. They get their feet around and they square up almost every time. It's all about the footwork, and that's why they're so efficient.
Mitchell's going to try one from downtown, and Shelton Mitchell. That's another 3-pointer for him, having a big first half. He's 2 out of 2 beyond the arc. He's got 15 points to lead all scorers.
Tigers needed that from Shelton Mitchell. He's answered the call. Like you said, Pete, he's yet to miss a field goal and has nearly half of Clemson's points as we near the intermission.
Highlanders playing for a final shot. 6 lead changes in the opening half. 4 coming inside of the final 2 minutes or so. Jones, fadeaway. Give you an idea as to just what Brad Brownell and crew are facing once conference play begins. The first things first, trying to get win number 7 on the season. And knock off the first of back-to-back Big South opponents. Charleston Southern's Buccaneers will be here on Tuesday night for a 7 o'clock game. Amir Sims quiet in the first half, and that one was halfway down.
Most athletic guard on this team. He's a great defender, and he can get up and rebound. And he knows that's his role in the starting spot for Clemson.
You're just joining us for a 2nd consecutive game. Tigers without their leading scorer and their best offensive threat, Marquise Reed, still coming back from that knee sprain. Thomas dribbling around defenders, and a nice job to lay it up and in. And Eli Thomas surpassing 700 career points for his college days. Of course, he began at Texas A&M. From way outside, Polite, count it.
For Clemson, why their opponents are shooting 39% from 3 on the season. You have to contest every single 3, especially with a team like Radford that shoots over 40% from beyond the arc.
Boy, what a nice drive that was by Carleigh Jones, and he's getting close to double figures. So Polite and Jones, 2 of their top threats, delivering on that end, and Radford moves back in front, our 7th lead change. By the way, Polite with that 3 became in their 15th all-time in scoring at Radford. Mitchell off that good first half. Not that time, and here's Polite.
2 threes for Clemson that have been in and out in the early going. And that previous play for Radford, you make the 3 and you get a foul call, so you get the ball back. That was almost a 5-point possession for Radford when they got the ball twice.
Yeah, essentially it turns out just like that. Nice feed inside Holland. Bumps against Sims, but he gets the roll.
A great slip by Holland and a good find. A strong finish inside.
Devontae Holland, their backup center. He's able to get a bucket and get into the scoring column. And now away from the ball, there's a foul call that they're going to get for the Highlanders, their biggest lead in the game. Mitchell inbounding to Thomas. Mitchell to the basket underneath Sala. And coming down with it was Polite, as you saw Mitchell taking a nasty spill. Travel is what the Clemson bench was yelling. No whistle. Feed inside. Jones to Fields. And Fields goes somewhere else, but he says, I just liked Fields so much. We had such a great relationship. I was happy to have him come to the program. And it gives his team a 5-point advantage. Skara showing some ball handling against the 6'1" Tanner.
And again, without Marquise Reed, every single player out there who plays the 2, 3, or 4 for Clemson is going to be called on to handle the ball in some capacity.
Skara feeding Sims. And he leaves it short. Really good defense that time by Polite.
And Sims has a height advantage there. That's something that he knows. You can see it on his face. He's got to be able to finish that inside. Amir
Sims has yet to score in this ball game after he had that career high 23 against Mississippi State last Saturday. Tanner from out near the paw. And battling a new rule that they're trying to enforce this year. So Polite has a seat, and that could be big. It came with just under 17 and a half to go here in our second half. Leroy Butts on the floor in place of him, who had a couple of big baskets in the first half. I think Mitchell was thinking Thomas was going to cut, but there's Butts coming away with a steal for the Highlanders.
Miscommunication there. He thought that Eli Thomas was going to cut more towards the basket. That didn't happen.
Butts too strong that time. Mitchell. Thomas on the drive. Contact. Let's see.
Thomas obviously frustrated with himself.
Radford looking to build on this 8-0 run they've put together over the past 2.5 minutes. Tigers just 2 points coming out of the halftime locker room. Jones spins around Skara, trying to shovel it. Good recovery by David Skara. Came in with a couple of blocks on the season. Mitchell and Caleb Tan. Sims getting a breather. David White and Skara, the two big men out there. Tigers working the perimeter. Skara, Newman. And the battle for the rebound, White, and it's the Square Garden and played for the NIT title. But Jersa, who had the task of replacing Tubby Smith at Georgia, he was in his second year as head coach but did not return. He later went on to guide Marshall. He's been an assistant now at Radford in his 4th season, but you would suppose when he came into the building today, perhaps that memory struck him. Maybe it didn't. I really don't know, but I found it to be an interesting tidbit. Holland, who it looked like he traveled, he's going to go off the glass and put it up and in. And in a game we've seen traveling called regularly, I do believe the officials might have let that one go.
Radford has scored 10 points in the second half. Clemson has scored 2. There's a lid on the basket for Clemson right now, and Radford's playing with a lot of confidence.
10-0 Radford run. Skara, instead of trying the 3, gets the short 2. Nice drive across the lane, and that breaks the dry spell for the Tigers. They're back within 5.
And Skara's only taken 5 shots tonight, including that one. I think he needs to be more aggressive. He's so efficient. He shoots a high percentage from both the field and beyond the arc. He has to score more for Clemson to get back in this one.
Jones, for all that he does well, he came into the game just 3 out of 23 beyond the arc, so when he gets the ball out there, he's not a threat. And his Tigers have backed off a little bit. And we've got a traveling calls in college.
That looked like a travel to me, but to the officials' credit, they've called a ton of travels tonight, so they have been pretty good in that regard.
And you're surprised that that wasn't one, but that was the second personal, by the way, on Mitchell, so his second was Eli Thomas over on the bench with 3, while Ed Polite, best big man for this Radford team, has 3. He's on the bench. Shot clock down to 2. Holland doesn't realize it. Now he does. And pretty nice shot that time for a guy who hadn't attempted a 3-pointer this year. Couldn't get it to go. Mitchell past Tanner. And the foul will be called on for the home team. I have a feeling, and they actually put that in their game recap. I wouldn't be surprised if in their game recap today, depending on how things play out, if this moment in the game with about 14:10 to go is mentioned. Tigers have a chance to tie or retake the lead, and Sims will try to do it, and he does. And Amir Sims, who's been kept scoreless to this point in the contest, picks a good time to break through.
And we mentioned Radford had that 5-point possession at the beginning of the half. That was a 6-point possession for Clemson. 3 free throws and a big 3, and now Clemson has the lead in just a matter of seconds.
How often will that happen anywhere else in a game this year?
Very rarely.
You may have seen the lone time. You'll see one team have a 5-point play and another a 6-point sequence in the same ball game. 8 lead changes, 2 in the second half. Jones responding, and that's what he does. He tells the crowd to quiet down, and another lead change, and back in front go the Highlanders.
That is a big shot from Carlik Jones. You can see why he's the leader of this team. Just cold-blooded right there. The crowd's into it. Clemson has the momentum, and he knocks down that jumper.
Mitchell. And the rebound taken down by Leroy Butts, who now becomes a very important player as their front line depth has been reduced with the ejection of Devontae Holland.
With both teams, their depth's being tested. No Marquise Reed for Clemson. You see Holland leave the game. Foul trouble all over the place. A lot of guys who don't play that many minutes are out there right now.
Butts had a couple of fadeaway jumpers in the first half. That one's not going to go. Newman defended. Mitchell and the Tigers looking to retake the lead. And knocked away and stolen by Travis Fields. Came in with a dozen on the season. I think Hicks was expecting that one. He's a good 3-point shooter. Moving to his left. He knocks it down. So a 5-0 run for Radford after the Tigers had taken the lead back.
This game has been a game of runs, and that is an incredibly tough shot.
15th of December. We didn't ask him his age. We're not going to ask his age. We're not going to guess the over, in case he's wondering. But we know that, soldier that he is working hard on this, his birthday. Tigers need to get going. They've been working hard all day, but not a lot to show for it. But look at Skara, and he's allowed to hang on the rim to avoid injury. And David Skara ties us up, or I should say brings Clemson back within 2 at 45-43.
David Skara jumping over his own teammate, jumping over Eli Thomas to get that tip dunk.
Polite back on the floor, has the ball now for Radford. Remember, he's got those 3 personal fouls, but so does Elijah Thomas. He's returned to the lineup for Clemson. What a nice job by Travis Fields, the Old Dominion transfer who was hot down the stretch of their run to the NCAA tourney last year. A beautiful mid-range jumper there.
It feels like every time Clemson grabs some sort of momentum, Radford hits a big shot. And it's really been Fields or Jones, those 2 guards, that have stepped up their games this season.
In the corner it goes, trapped. And rattles home good. His second made 3 of the ball game. It's been an adventure from long range today for Clyde Trapp, but that was a big one there.
Huge shot for Clemson. Clyde Trapp's still just 2 for 6 from 3, but that was a big one as Clemson continues to pull back and tries to take the lead.
Fields averages about 11 a game. Shakes the defender Trapp. Can't get it to rattle home. Battle for the rebound. Fields again thought about passing, instead firing, and he puts Radford back in front by 3.
Fields is such a smooth player, and that time grabbing the offensive board, faking the pass, and an easy jumper. He's played really well in this second half.
Tigers led by 1 at the break. Radford picked to win the Big South after they made a march to a title last year. They were picked in the lower third of the Big South a season ago. This year they're picked to win it with so many players back from that NCAA team. Good job by Sims to get the offensive rebound.
And Trapp had the extra pass there, but he's feeling it. And that's a shot you take when you've just made a 3. Nothing wrong with that shot, and that ball was in and out, just like a few of those threes have been for Clemson in this second half.
You see the numbers as far as offensive rebounds go. They've been important. Sims unable to finish. There's the deflection out to Trapp. Yet another offensive rebound. Tigers getting close to 10 of those here in our second half of play.
Radford's hanging tough on the boards, but Clemson with 9 offensive rebounds now. Radford just 5. The Tigers have found a way to create second chance opportunities for themselves.
Thomas. And the foul's going to be called.
Clemson's first weekend home game. So you see a really good crowd in here in Littlejohn as fans have been able to make their way for the game here on this Saturday.
Polite the rebound off the miss. That was the 900th in the career of the senior out of Lanham, Maryland, Ed Polite. Really good player for this Radford team. He'd probably be a front runner for the Big South Player of the Year, but there's a player in that league who leads the nation in scoring, Chris Clemens of Campbell, who you figure he's averaging over 30 a game is going to be tough to beat. No, that time for Sala. Newman pulls it down. Here come the Tigers looking to tie or go back in front. Sims. And he banks it in with a hand in his face.
And Amir Sims, he has to be more aggressive, as we've said, with Marquise Reed out. And you see that play there. Sometimes he settles for the 3 a bit too much. He's got to use his size inside, and that was a great attack by Amir Sims.
Jones the shovel, Sala the finish. Naudo Sala, the Kansas State transfer, a grad student in his lone year for the Highlanders, his first bucket of the game.
Played for that Elite 8 team last year. Kansas State making it all the way to the Elite 8 before losing to Loyola, so he has some big-time game experience.
Sala out front defending Mitchell. Skara going to give a 3-pointer a try. David Skara feeling it today when the Tigers need him most. 14 in the contest. Clemson back in front. That's our 10th lead change of the ball game.
You could feel that 3 was good right when it left Skara's hand. He lined it up perfectly, shot it in rhythm. And again, he's so efficient from 3.
They working on the perimeter. Hicks, best 3-point shooter for this Radford team. Not that time. And Donald Hicks playing in his first game after missing the past 3. Unable to put Radford back in front. Thomas, though, building this Clemson lead out to 3.
Eli Thomas does such a great job of not settling for jumpers. He attacks the basket every time. They were giving him that jumper, but he said, no, I'm going to get closer to the rim and get a better shot. And he's really good at doing that.
Last time the Tigers took a lead, Radford went on a 5-0 run. Hicks and the foul.
Clemson have had to step up but it's really hard to replace Marquise Reed when he's out with an injury.
And on both ends of the court, because a year ago he led the Tigers in steals, and he was atop the charts before getting hurt late in that game against St. Peter's about a week and a half ago. Radford out of the timeout, which probably came at a very good moment in the game for them. After the Newman foul, Jones forcing it inside. Came into the game 76% from the free throw line, and now he's 3 out of 4 today. And
that's what's impressive too about Jones. 4 assists, 1 turnover today in 30 minutes. He does not throw the ball away. Very few unforced turnovers.
And they'll tell you that Fields, number 11, just beyond the paw there, he's really their point guard. But Jones, such a well-rounded player for them. Tigers, every possession, even though there's still 7+ to go in regulation, becomes big. You just feel like Mitchell having a good day. No. Putback try by Sims, rejected by Salah. And then Sims goes up over the big man. And Amir Sims, all of his scoring has come here in the second half. Sims now with 7 in the game.
And that's one way to get yourself involved if you're Amir Sims. Offensive rebounds, a big-time play inside by Sims.
Wow, that is what Caleb Tanner can do. He is the all-time high school scoring leader in the state of Virginia. At Radford, he has become a long-range marksman, and we are tied at 56.
And he can disappear a bit in games. He's only taken 4 shots, but he spreads the floor so much. You have to give so much attention to him, and then he knocks down big shots like that one.
Tip that time by Jones. Under 10 on the shot clock. Mitchell looked to spin, now feeds Skara, knocked around. Skara, wow, beats the shot clock. David Skara, he'd be dangerous in a game of horse with a shot like that.
We've seen Skara evolve offensively. I'm not sure we knew that was in his repertoire, Pete. The fadeaway from the elbow, wow.
Jones can't answer, battles Newman for the rebound, and the freshman taking it away from the sophomore Radford. Trapp looking things over. Tiger team that I'm not so sure they felt this game to be all that low scoring, but has had a hard time getting into the 70-point range.
Big body, he has size, he's got to use it, and he did on that play.
Tanner getting the attention of Mitchell, probably the best on-ball perimeter defender the Tigers have, with Reed injured. There's Hicks, another good three-point shooter. Polite, and he banks it home.
And Radford has missed Polite. He's been on the bench with those 3 fouls. He brings a calmness. He's a veteran. He can get a shot whenever he wants, and that's a big play by Ed Polite.
Georgia Polite moved into the top 15 in scoring at Radford early in the game. He's over 1,200 points in his career. Only averages about 11 points a game, but he comes up with big baskets for them. 58 all. Mitchell, and he gets the roll inside. Shelton Mitchell building on his game. He now has 20 points. He's just 5 away for 1,000 in his career.
Mitchell continuing to do it in the mid-range. He has a size advantage on these guards guarding him for Radford, so he can really pull up and get a shot whenever he wants.
Fields pulls up on Sims. Good job by Newman to scrap, battle for the ball, won by Fields, but he throws it away, and Sims is right there.
Sims will not get credit for a block, but he altered that shot tremendously, made Travis Fields take a really tough floater. It's a good defensive play by Amir Sims.
Sims from downtown this time. Can't get that one to fall. There's Skara. Amir Sims coming into the game at 40% beyond the arc so far today, though. Just 1 out of 6. Trapp driving inside. Good idea by the Tigers sophomore. Can't get it to go down. Here comes Radford trying to give us another second half tie. And Tanner losing the handle. Knocked away that time. Good defense out on the perimeter by the Tigers. Brad Brownell said that had to step up, and so far, pretty solid job today. Mitchell, he loses the handle. And he hits the deck. Both he and Fields going down. Give Fields credit for knocking it away. Polite bumped, and now next made basket to establish a new collegiate career high. And obviously with Reed down, others need to step up. And you see we've had 10 ties and 10 lead changes in this game. Tigers led by 1 at the break. Radford's led by as many as 7 in the contest. Clemson's biggest lead has been 6, and that came with a 6-0 start to the ball game. Dangerous pass that time. Trapp, though, able to take it. Well, maybe give Eli Thomas the assist. And the Tigers build the lead out to 4.
Clemson very fortunate that pass was not intercepted, but a great recovery by Clyde Trapp and an athletic finish at the rim.
Clyde Trapp, 8 points today. Getting the start. And we've got an illegal screen. It'll go against...
Because the screen was illegal, but Travis Fields was open with the ball.
Tigers a chance to match their biggest lead of the ball game or take their largest if they can knock down a 3 or get a 3-point play on this try. Thomas inside, rolls out as he went over Salad, then he was going.
If he had been out there a little longer, you'd probably seen a little more production, but I still think you're happy with Eli Thomas. 11 points now, 7 boards in just 20 minutes. He's been good when he's been out there.
Eli Thomas and the Tigers matching their biggest lead of the game at a half dozen. Radford, a good 3-point shooting team. Polite's going to try one, and he swishes. Ed Polite, 30.
He's had some foul issues. He's taken just 5 shots from the field today.
Inbound comes to Mitchell. Radford's pressed at various points in the game. Tigers do a good job getting it in the front court. Skara, contact inside, and Thomas with a follow.
Good decision by Clyde Trapp. I think he wanted to take that 3, but he made the right decision to make the extra pass to Skara.
Tigers lead by 5. Big possession for the Highlanders. Polite to Jones, not known as a 3-point shooter, but he makes...
They were out, they were contesting threes. The second half, there's been a couple instances where Radford has gotten really good open looks.
Remember, 10 team fouls against Radford, so if they foul, Tigers will get 2 free throws as opposed to the 1-and-1 bonus. But they don't have to foul. Plenty of time on the clock, and they can just try to get a stop right here. Mitchell defended by Field. Shelton, left-hander, rattles out. No, Thomas, a great job. He boxed out 2, gets inside, and now a 2-possession game. And you see Jones letting the ball roll all the way across midcourt so as not to start the clock. Skara with that 6'8 frame defending the 6'1 Jones, and got a foul.
Clemson pay if he makes both.
And he can't get the roll. Battle for the rebound. Radford obviously needs to get a stop, but they still don't have to foul. Just under a minute to go now here in regulation. And Mitchell, Saturday, the rivalry battle down in Columbia, 2 p.m. at Colonial Life Arena. So a big defensive possession, but also a big offensive possession from the Tigers' standpoint. Trapp to the basket, and he gets it to go up and in. What a nice move by Clyde Trapp out of the timeout. Tigers in.
Clemson can set up their defense. Radford had a chance to go, and then, of course, with the clock issues, they have to set up a set.
Got to think they try to set up a 3 right here. Jones knocked away by Skara momentarily. Battle on the floor, and
Clemson's worst free throw shooter is inbounding the ball, which is a smart play.
Great find for Sims, and he'll go right to the bucket. Tigers have their biggest lead of the game, 72-65. Nice job on the inbound. Jones, and the reject. If you're Radford, you almost wanted to miss and get the rebound so you can try a 3 and make it a 1-possession game. Well, he did miss, but they don't get the rebound. Newman does. Here's Trapp, and does make the second free throw, but they have yet to get a win this month, and it looks like they're going to fall to 0-3. All 3 of those games on the road, a stretch of 4 out of 5 away from their home court. Inside, Polite, no. Battles for the offensive rebound with Sims. It looked like he wanted to try. Polite on the rebound. 8-point game. Fields kicking to Polite. And overshoot the target there. Rebound taken by the Tigers. Clemson will simply dribble it out. And the Tigers, a hard fought.